I know you guys are so far ahead of us in this whole pandemic situation. So now people are going back to work and the social distancing. Has that ever been the case over there, as far as 6 feet away and all that?
I mean, they just weren't out. Everybody just pretty much stayed home.
Oh, okay.
Um, so it wasn't about six, the social distancing, because you can't really social distance here. It's too
I
many
know.
people.
It's too
Yeah,
many people, right?
yeah.
Why do you believe that the CBA hasn't started back up yet?
I believe that they want to be 100% sure, which you can't be. And if something was to happen, if we had a resurgence here, it would be, it wouldn't be good.
Right.
It would be really bad.
Yep.
So I think they're taking all of the precautionary measures to make sure that they handle it the appropriate way. So, the season may start a little bit later than what they said, but I
Hmm.
think that they're going to try to finish the season.
Yeah.
But you never know. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, um, the most important thing here is the people and about what's going on with people's lives.
Yeah.
So it's a little challenging for the sports world, but because it's a different governance and it's a different mentality and mind frame here opposed of home, where sports and all of the different things that um, are entertainment driven, that pretty much dominates, and
Right.
people kind of can't live without that. Here is not the same. It's like the mentality of living and trying to make sure everything is safe, and then
Right.
go back to that is
Right.
more of the focal.
You spoke to Adam Silver, and you let him know that the most important thing was, hey, we need to get this thing under control before we. I mean, that's pretty key as far as having that kind of a voice with the commissioner of the NBA. I know you have great standing and everything as a former NBA player and everything,
Mm-hmm.
but how'd that conversation go?
I mean, I pretty much took it upon myself to send him a message. Him and we've established a relationship when he came to China during the global games,
Mm-hmm.
and he basically was like, man, when you come to America, come to the office. So I did, and we kept in contact. And because I knew what was going on here, I wanted to make sure I gave him what I knew,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, basketball is a family.
Right.
It's a really big family, and being that I knew that this was something that could affect um, not only basketball players but people at the game.
Mm-hmm.
It can create a big surge, but so many people at a game, 17, 18,000 people. I told them, I was like, you don't want one of the players to catch it, and then guys got it. So, I think at the time that they did it was the perfect time. It was important for me to do that because I was seeing exactly what was happening.
Mm-hmm. And it was also important for you to step out and help secure those masks for New York City, which I'm sure you've heard a lot of great things about, and a lot of people have been really saying some positive things about that. Why'd you feel like it was incumbent on you to do that?
I knew masks were something that people weren't wearing, which people were looking at me when I had on a mask, like, why you got a mask on? I'm like, why you don't got a mask on? You know what I'm
Right, right,
saying?
right,
So for me, because in China, everybody wears a mask. You walk on the street, every single person has one on if they're outside.
right.
So, me seeing that, and when I was, when this first started, we were playing the game on the 21st. We were playing against our rivals, the team that I used to play for,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody in the arena had a mask on. It was like, I was like, man, this is really going down with this
Yeah, this is
virus. Like, this is serious. You know what
right,
I'm
right,
saying?
right,
When I got home and I saw that people were just freely walking around and it was just like nothing was going on, I was like, yo, this is serious. This is about to be here for real. Like, I was telling my family, I was telling everybody, they was like, oh, relax. It's not that serious,
right.
And I was like, no, it's not. So I was literally like the dude knocking on the door all day,
Mm-hmm.
telling everybody that I could tell. I was posting on my Instagram, like, yo, look, this is what's going on. This is what's happening.
Right.
Like, be aware, be conscious of it. And then boom, it hit hard. and then
Hmm.
people started seeing what was happening. So I was like, New York was, I mean, that's my city. That's where I'm from. That's what I love. I introduced them to somebody that I knew that had access, and then they started working on a deal. So I just connected them and
Oh.
trying to make sure that they would be able to be be efficient in
Hmm.
making this happen. As I said, just being a local kid and seeing what was going on in my hometown, I mean, it was easy to do that.
Yeah, a lot of people have been, like I said, giving you a lot of credit for that and big upping you. But some other people are saying, well, that's just Steph. That's what he has done before now too. Always felt
Yeah,
pride for his home and wanted to help out in a lot of different ways. Do you think that a lot of people just don't realize the things that you've done, whether it's behind the scenes or overtly?
I think people are so caught up in with what went on with basketball,
Hmm.
opposed of and me not, as they said, I was the most reviled athlete in New York City history. I'm like, wow, who
No,
voted for that? I'm like,
I
no,
don't think I don't believe
they
that.
had a they no, but they had, I know, of course. I'm like, who had a vote for that? I was like,
Right?
oh, so because I don't listen and I don't do what you tell me to do, that makes me this human being. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not that human being. But
Right.
um, all of the stuff that I've done from doing the shoes and doing all of that, that's all by God. That's what I was taught and raised to do.
Yeah.
The more you do, the more you give, the more blessings you receive. You
Right.
don't see the blessings in the form of how people would probably think that you should see them, whereas money or statue, or I mean, but for my peace,
Yeah.
for myself, within myself, I'm able to hold an amazing presence with my connection with God because of the things that I've been able to do. Because all we got, like my mom said, she always says, all we have in this life are our feelings.
Right.
That's it. And for me, I feel blessed. I feel well. I'm okay. I'm healthy. I don't have any complaints with my life as far as the way how I feel. I mean, yeah, you would want to change things and you want to do certain things, and you would like to live the life that you used to live when you lived it, from playing in the NBA. But I'd rather have the life that I have now than the life that I was having when I was, making all of the money that I was making and doing all of the things that I was doing, because my peace wasn't intact the way how it is now.
Mm.
I'm cool with being in China. I'm cool with knowing that I've accomplished some things as a black kid from Coney Island that not many people on earth will ever accomplish, in going to a foreign country with two statues, a museum, a green card, establishing myself from a place where people had me written off as a dead man,
Uh,
basically.
I saw the documentary, man, and it's fire. I loved it. I thought it was
Mm.
great. How did you receive it? How did you feel once you saw the finished product?
I didn't see it until I watched it like everybody else at the film festival.
Okay.
When I first watched it, I just was like, wow, it's honest, it's true, it's truthful, there are messages inside of it. There's faith, there's redemption, there's um an enormous amount of will and uh God motivated and driven uh things that um push me. It the best part of the doc to me is the part with little Xavier. I thought that that was the most powerful part, because I mean, obviously, I mean that all, if none of that was scripted. It was
Yeah.
all, it just happened just like that. Like the whole part where I was like, all right, it's a wrap. Like
Yeah.
after that, and I told them, I was like, this documentary is gonna be about you. Like it wasn't like that was all in real time.
Yeah.
All of that's real. No cutting, no edit. So for me, being able to instill that type of energy into a human being, let alone this positive black soul from where I'm from, who
Yeah.
looks like me, to be able to give him that, and to be able to allow him to see who the people who I look towards to give me positive energy, and guys like Bruce Lee, my
Yeah.
mom, different iconic people, iconic souls, I should say, that strengthen you inside in your mind
Right.
to be able to give him that and for him to say, I feel good. You know what I'm
I
saying?
feel
Like,
powerful.
yeah, he's I feel good, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a little kid talking. That's not, you can't make no little kid say stuff like
Nah,
that.
no, that's
You know what I'm
honest.
saying?
I really like the idea of everybody else talking about you
Yeah,
until you got to China, pretty
yeah,
much, because
yeah,
I thought that they had some very honest, open things to say about the situation, the way they perceived it. Did you like that
yeah.
too? Did you
I
like that?
loved it. I loved how, because people ask me like, so why did you come in at the end? And I was like, well, the story was being told about what happened, and other people were telling the story about what happened.
Right,
So there was no need for me to tell people what happened, right?
right,
The way how the directors, Cootie and Chika, how they did it was phenomenal. I mean, those
right.
guys, you know, they got people was like, oh, I said, I'm claiming it. It's an Oscar. I was like, what documentary is better than this documentary? I'm not saying this because of me. I'm saying this the story that go to another country and do what happened. Like, come on. It's no comparison. It's this human being that had this amazing, beginning of a basketball career. And then the plane looked like it's about to fall and crash.
Right,
And everybody's like bracing themselves, like, oh, he's about to be done. You
right.
know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, boom, it just go, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? And then you
yeah.
see the plane just like, yo, did you see that joint just, you know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah,
when people see it, they looking at it like, yo, that's so sick, yo.
yeah,
And then it's, the way how they created the art inside of the documentary is dope. So it made people cry, it made people laugh,
yeah.
it made people cry again. Like, more people have told me like, man, your document, grown men, like, yo, you had me crying, yo. You had me sitting here literally like crying, watching your doc, and I ain't no punk, yo. I'm just letting you know. I'm like, yo, I cried too, and it's my story.
When you hear that you have inspired a lot of people in this game, especially Coney Island guys like Lance, Isaiah Whitehead, your cousin. How does that make you feel that you've been able to be that
Blessed,
inspiration, be that role model for them and that driving force?
blessed, blessed, because at the end of the day, they have a template. When people look at kids from Coney Island, I'm like, first of all, we got the most players ever in history that went to the NBA. Coney Island is only 21,000 people. Like, look at how many pros there are after me. I mean, that right there within itself, I kicked in the door and they just walked in.
Hmm.
So they have a template and an understanding of this small little place where so many NBA players have come from.
Hmm.
You got 5, 8 NBA players that have come and played in the NBA. That's amazing.
Right.
I mean, that's it went from a small little scope to a view.
Did you feel any extra amount of pressure to make it to the NBA for your family, for your city?
Um, I always felt like I had the opportunity to play in the NBA. One, I knew that eventually I would be playing against the same people who I was playing against that were freshman, sophomore, and junior when I'm a senior. So if I'm going to be playing against these guys and I'm dominating guys that are in college and playing against guys that are NBA already and busting their ass, as we would say, me being able to notice that and know that from the work that I put in, I kind of knew that I had the opportunity to play in the NBA, but it wasn't about playing in the NBA for my family. It was about doing work in the NBA.
Okay.
So, everybody can, people can have the opportunity to play in the NBA, but to get in the NBA and do work, that's a whole nother movement. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So this was the mind frame and the understanding inside my household. So pressure to make it to the NBA and to play, I never felt that. That wasn't something that I was thinking about or feeling. Other people were thinking and feeling that for me, but I never had that feeling. For me, when I look at basketball in high school and college, I had something that a lot of people didn't have in my brothers. So I knew what to do, what not to do. I knew what decisions to make. which is why I was a little bit more informative and speaking about the things that I spoke about, which people didn't like when I spoke about them, because they were like, how does he know to say what he's saying? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So it was
right.
a little it was a little irritating, like, oh, this dude is speaking the straight facts and nobody don't really want to hear it. But 10 years later, it's okay for point guards to play the way how they play. It's
Right.
okay for people to do what they're doing. It's okay for people to do live streaming 10 years later when they were saying, oh,
Because
he's crazy
unfortunately, what
eating
comes to mind
Vaseline. I
when
said,
they think
dude,
of
you
Stephon
talking about
Marbury,
me eating
or
Vaseline
at least when they
after
think
I
of his
told
fall
you a
from grace.
98-year-old
When
black woman told me to
you
do that
can't
because
get
I
your
lost
voice
my
back,
voice and your mom smoked crack and
take
your
some
dad do
Vaseline
coke. I'm like, I don't get it.
and swallow
I'm
it.
like,
A former All-Star,
I'm like,
his
this
NBA career
don't make
behind
no
him at only
sense to me
32
at
years
all. I'm
old.
like, you talking about me like I'm doing, like I'm sticking heroin in my arm.
Right.
I'm like, because I ate Vaseline. I said, did you know that the inventor of Vaseline ate a teaspoon of it every day? No, you didn't know that. But because, you know what I'm saying, he didn't look like me, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But
Even when I got into this business, I'm from Los Angeles. So when I first got
mm,
into this business, I thought, I would like to end up in Los Angeles. I would like to be at home with my mom and my
mm,
family, out on the West
mm,
Coast. But then I got to New York, and it kind of grew on us, the
mm,
New York, New Jersey area.
mm.
It seems like it's everybody's dream to go back home. Why do you feel like that
According to
didn't
his
work?
beloved
I
Knicks
just
midway through
never
the
had the
2003-2004
success in
season.
having
A few months
all of the
later,
pieces
the
that were
Suns signed
needed in
Steve
order to
Nash and
win.
became an overnight
Yes, I
contender.
had
The Knicks
feuds with
represented Marbury's
Larry
fourth team in
Brown,
only 8 pro
which
seasons.
is
And as
separate from what people know or what they understand. Larry Brown is known for having problems with his top players, with his point guard.
Oh, yeah.
But people have made it okay that this is what he does and this is what goes on, and you're supposed to conform and perform under these conditions based upon you knowing that this guy is the way how he is.
Right.
And like I said, you know, I come from my mom and my dad inside my household, and I know how they lived and how they were raised when they were growing up because the stories were told. And I just wasn't that kid where you were going to speak to me and talk to me the way how you talk to some of the other kids that he coached and the way how he felt that they should be. It didn't resonate with me. You know, the respect wasn't at a mutual standard. So
Hmm.
when it got to that point, it caved. And for me, I'm a straight shooter, no matter if it's on the court or off the court. If I mess up, I mess up. I'll say I play like doodoo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't think that they put together a team that was literally in place to go to the next level. When I went to New Jersey, everybody got hurt. And then I got traded, everybody got healthy, and then they added some pieces and Jason Kidd came.
Right.
So, it was my luck
Right.
that, it didn't work the way how it could have possibly worked if I was playing with the same guys that played. Jason Williams was hurt, Keith Van Horn was hurt, Kerry Kittles was hurt. Those are your three main players.
Right.
I mean, how are you going to win with playing with 10-day contract guys? It's not
Right.
going to work.
Right.
And a lot of people never wanted to speak and talk about that. I played probably with the most 10-day contract guys ever in history. I look at, the Knicks and New Jersey. I look at all of those experiences as it was all part of my learning curve for when I got to China. Because
Right.
when I got to China, I was asked all of the same questions that I was asked in America. And I was laughing like, wow, it's amazing that people really think that these, like all of the stuff that went on, like this really exists. So I answered all of the questions. And then after I asked all of the media in my first press conference, I said, can you guys do me a favor? It was like, what you want us to do? I said, can you judge me based upon what you see and what you hear and not from what other people have written or what they said about me? I said, if we do that, I promise you, we'll be cool. We'll be
Yeah.
100 because then you'll really understand who I am and you'll know who I am.
Right.
And they were like, that's fine, that's fair. And from then on, it's just been what it is.
Yeah. You get that clean slate, and you get to judge what you see and hear. And also, then before you know it, they throwing you up and down when you win the championship, huh?
You can't be as bad. I mean, I'm like, I'm not as bad. I was like, it's impossible for me to be as bad as they tried to depict me to be. And you
Uh,
go someplace where there are 1 billion+ people, and they got a whole different view and idea.
one of the key parts of the documentary, Kid from Coney Island, was when your father passed away. What
Mm,
he was able to see a lot of your journey, but
yeah,
he was not able to live to see this part of the journey. What would he think of Stephon Marbury and where he is right now?
my father would just be like, "That's my son." That's it. He'd be like, "That's my son."
Yeah,
That's how I raised him. That's how we know him to be.
yeah. So basically, taking the ups and downs and turn it into something great still at the end.
100%. I mean, that's the best part of the story. Is like, people are like, "Why did you do it now in the documentary?" I said, "You don't want to do it while you're playing. You want to do it at the end, because there's so many different things that are going to happen from what happened." As I said, the plane looked like it's about to crash, and then all of a sudden it just it takes off and just glides
Yeah,
and just and goes and soars above the storm like an eagle.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And when you see this and you witness it, it's inspirational. It's powerful. It's for the next generation, for them to know there were trials, there were tribulations, there were um, misfortunes, there were a variety of different things that come with downfalls. And for me to be able to be the person that did it and the person that can take myself outside of myself and look at it, I'm blessed. That's all
mm,
God.
yeah,
And I know that it's all God. I know that through my journey and through my challenges, I know how challenging it was. I know what depression looks like. I know what it feels like. I've witnessed it on my face. People are like, "Man, you look younger now." And I'm like, "Yeah, no stress." Like, I don't have to feel and think that anymore. I don't have to defend myself. I don't
right,
have to keep my hands up the whole time.
right.
So, that's a beautiful thing to be able to be in that space. People forgot, like, yo, I was the #1 high school basketball player in the world. And, you know, colleges were sending private jets to pick me up to go visit their school. Like,
Yeah,
this is real on Nightline. This is not fake. This is
yeah,
all what went on.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So respect it, or you can neglect it on a different level, but you're gonna respect it.
yeah. So while we're right at this point, your top five New York City point guards, and you can include yourself.
Uh, no, I won't include myself. I would
Okay.
say Kenny,
Yeah.
Tiny Archibald, my brother. Um, um, I would add Sebastian in there because his high school career was incredible.
Bananas. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a nuts high school experience. Probably Lenny Wilkins.
Okay.
Probably missing. I mean,
Yeah.
You could put Bob Cousy, you could put so many, but those are the guys that I know that I think top point guards. You can
Yeah.
put Pearl in there,
Yeah.
but it could be 5 to 10 that it could just reverse A to
Yeah.
B, B to A. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
those guys are the top guys that I know from a focal standpoint and watching highlights, watching video on them.
Yeah. You and Allen Iverson kind of linked one and two. I mean, side by side going into the league. What was that like matching up against him? Was he one of the more difficult
Um,
guys to go against?
I mean, Allen really never really guarded me.
Okay.
I'm more so guarding Allen
Yeah.
than him guarding me. So I don't really look at that as a matchup. When we did play against each other and we guarded each other for the whole game, those were some amazing matchups. Those were some great times. But Allen was more of just he was a scoring weapon,
Right.
and you know, you gotta when you play against that guy, you know what it's going to be. You're gonna be running around the court the whole night. 30 points, that was a normal. that wasn't um, something that you had to prepare to stop. You had to try to prepare for him not to get 40, 50. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you already know he's gonna go.
Yeah.
He's gonna stay in go mode the whole time.
Right.
So those matchups were fun. They were fun on a defensive end because you knew you were gonna have to play defense. So if you could keep them down at 24, 25, under 30 points, you kind of did your job.
Right. Right. Right.
Even when that's still a lot of points.
Yeah, it is. How about Mike? How about playing against Michael Jordan? What was that like?
It's like literally watching him play and you just on the court playing. It's like you're playing against his spirit because you know eventually he's just gonna go. And it's like he disappears when you're trying to guard him. It's like it's incredible. You can't really compare it. You know what I'm saying? It's like Michael Jackson. You can't really compare nobody to Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
You really can't compare Michael Jordan. You can't compare anyone to Muhammad Ali. You can't compare anyone to Prince, to Wayne Gretzky.
Right.
You know, it's just you really can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys are these type of people.
Yeah, looking at one of your former teams, the Nets. Once the season concludes, or the next one starts, or whatever, they're gonna have KD. They're gonna have Kyrie. They have some parts, maybe Spencer Dinwiddie or whoever they have. What do you think about them going forward? And because they got those two guys with deep runs in the playoffs in mind, do you think they're going to be able to do that? Do you think those personalities, those talents are going to mesh?
I think they meshed, they mixed. KD and Kyrie, they're both on the same page. They're both on the same wavelength. KD is he's a real dude. You know what I'm saying? Like he keep it 100. He's growing just like everybody else, but he's intact with what's going on in the reality in life.
Yeah.
He's not superficial. So I think with him being in Brooklyn, he fits right into the culture of how we move in New York. Kyrie, he's a gamer. He hoops. He gets on the court. He plays no matter what.
Right.
I think those two together, it's a nice combination. When you look at Kyrie and LeBron playing, they complemented each other. They took turns. Kyrie took a lot of weight off of LeBron when he played with him. And I think KD will take weight off of Kyrie, and Kyrie will take weight off of KD. And I think the pieces and the coach, that's what it comes down to.
Right. Kyrie and KD, they're a nice little combination. That's a nice little duo. Reminds me of you and Kevin Garnett. You look back on that situation and like, oh man, I wish we could have rolled it out for 10 years or so.
Basketball wise, if that would have been, I always tell people, I'm like, it was never about basketball. I just didn't want to spend 7 years of my life in Minnesota. I'm just being straight up and being honest. I didn't want to. It was 40 below, snow every day. I went from New York to melting pot to Atlanta. From Atlanta to Minnesota, 6% black people.
Right.
It didn't really. At 19, it really wasn't. It really wasn't working for me at that time.
Right.
As I'm older, I could probably adjust now.
Right.
But during that time frame, they tried to make it. People tried to make it into I was jealous of Kevin, and I'm like, for what? What was the point? I was like, I'm not jealous of no man. 1, 2. Because he signed for X amount of dollars when my time was up. Like when Chauncey Billups was talking in the documentary, I'm like, if you can't get mad at the system changing and you still get the maximum on, you get the maximum dollars
allowable
in the same league. That's allowed. It's a ceiling, right?
Yeah.
So now it comes down to preference, right? And for me, my preference wasn't to spend 7 more years of my life in Minnesota. I went to the owner of the Timberwolves and I said, Mr. Taylor, I know, you know, you guys want to resign me. I said, but I'm not going to resign, and I'm letting you know ahead of time so you can trade me so you can get somebody, because I don't want the organization to think that I'm going to stay here and then I'll leave you guys flat in the summertime and I go to another team. I said, I'm letting you know that I'm not going to resign here. So I did it the honorable way. So now 22, 23 years later, I could always look in the mirror and say to him, and he could look at me and say, you came to me and you told me exactly what you saying right now. You can say it to this date. And that was most important to me, not what people thought. I told them, I said, why don't you go ask Kevin if he thinks that I could be jealous of him. That's what I used to tell people and tell them right now to this day. Go ask Kevin Garnett right now, do he ever or did he ever think that Stephon was jealous of you?
Right.
It wasn't possible. Literally, it wasn't possible. I mean, I can see where people can use money as the tooling to speak on that. But what happened was Kevin McHale the next day, he started to say, oh, I was selfish. I was all of these different things. I said, hold up. Just yesterday, before I got traded, you was trying to get me to sign a 7-year deal.
Right.
Now today to this day, now I'm all of these different things. I said, okay, I got it. I understand. I didn't say anything at that time.
Right.
But here I am today, well, in 2012, when we won the championship in China, in Beijing, the Rockets was calling me to come play. And it was him trying to get me to come back there. And I was like, It was like, my people was like, oh, this is a great opportunity for you to get back in the lead and make, the money that you was making, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yo, they're about to build a statue of me. There's no way I'm leaving that. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care how much money is being offered and how much money I get the opportunity to make. And when it wasn't about the money no more, it was just really like my life just completely changed.
Is that your home?
This is home.
Okay.
This is home. I've been living here. I've been in China for 10 years.
Wow.
So it's been a decade. Right. It went so some people were like, yo, one dude, I seen somebody when I was in New York one year. He was like, yo, Stephon Marbury. He was like, man, I thought you died.
Oh, no.
I was like, damn. I was like, well, what's up to you too? He's like, nah, I don't mean no disrespect by that, but I ain't where you at? Where you been at? I was like, yo, I've been in China. Like, I carried on the conversation because to me it was kind of cool, but at the same time it was so messed up. I was like, damn. But I've been here 10 years.
Yep.
I've been having the best experience that my life could evolve into, from being in the space of basketball. I mean, I do have challenges because I go back and forth home.
Yeah.
My family is in America, but they know what it is. This is what I do to take care of us.
Yeah.
So for me, it has its ups, it has its downs, but as far as the life is concerned, it's solid. I don't have any complaints.
In the documentary, a kid from Coney Island, I can't remember, I think it's your sister, said that you needed China, that you needed to have that experience. And it seems like, as you were saying, no stress. You seem to be calmer. You seem to be more, you know what I mean? Did you need China?
100%. When I got here, when I flew to China, I was depressed. I was stressed all the way out. My company was failing. After all of what went on, my brand that I was helping millions and millions of people, giving people something at an affordable price, $15 or less.
Yeah.
Black families were like going ballistic with happiness.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing this and I'm watching this movement, and then all of a sudden I'm watching it getting ready to crash. My dad died.
Yeah.
You know, I'm dealing with that pressure and stress of trying to cope with that. I'm on the plane flying, and I never forget. I got off the plane. It was like 4 or 5 thousand people at the airport, and I'm going down the escalator, and I'm asking the dude. I'm like, man, it's a lot of people. Now, I never been to China before.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a lot of people over here. Why is all of these people down here like that? I don't see no carousels going. It's late. He was like, they here for you. I was like, they here for me. Dude, from then to now, my life has been like that. That type of feeling, that type of energy. I
Yeah.
mean, one of my friends, she was like, my dad was like, you had a, excuse my language, she was like, my dad said you had a shit-eating grin on your face.
I knew that was coming.
that she was so happy. You know, I was on the front of the China Daily, and that newspaper go back and forth to America from China. So
Okay.
that's the English newspaper. And I was on the front of it, and she was like, man, my dad was cracking up laughing. He was like, you look completely different than how you looked when you was in America. And I was like, look,
In China,
I
and
ain't never in my
specifically in
life
Beijing.
experienced
This was
nothing
like
like
Kawhi
that
Leonard
when
leading the
that many
Raptors to
people
a
were
title
there to
over the
greet
Warriors.
and show
And
love.
Somebody was just come up to you and ask you, well, what was your life like? What was it? How would you sum it up? And we talked about it, the ups and the downs and the roller coaster.
I would say it's colorful. It's colorful.
Yeah.
All different types of colors, because colors can dictate moods.
Yeah.
It's very colorful. It's
clashed
very
with a who's
bright.
who of NBA coaches.
It has
Now
some dark
serves as
times.
head coach.
Yeah.
But those dark times, God was still by my side. He never left me, and I never doubted him. I'm thankful to God that I got a strong spiritual sound base within myself, within my family. I got praying warriors in my family. From all my family members, we all are connected to the highest power, and for me to be able to have that, it created balance during the most difficult times in my life, which is it's not scripted for it to be straight. It's gonna be some bumps. It's gonna be some ups, some downs. If it's just straight flatline, you dead. It's been amazing, man. I'm just so blessed and so thankful to God that I've been able to have the experiences that I've had, and to be able to share with people, and to be able to motivate. Mental health is a real serious thing. I struggle with that. I had. I tell people like, oh, I wanted to kill myself. They be like, oh, Stephon Marbury wanted to kill himself. I said, dude, I didn't do it. I just told you how I felt. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, if I can't share with you how I felt,
right?
I'm like, that's how I felt. Like, It's okay to be able to express these feelings about what went on.
And you're still here, man.
And I'm still here.
You still here
keeping the faith, man. Keeping the faith.
Thank you so much for joining us. The kid from Coney Island. It was fire, man.
Love.
Great finally catching up with you, brother.
All right, my brother. Peace.
Oh, take care.
All right.